What is up? What is up? What is up, you all? It's another day, another time, and another week for We'll Talk Monday. So, y'all, I got the famous woman, this famous woman right here with me on tonight. She came on here last couple of weeks ago and killed it. We're gonna get into a little bit more about her, but first, y'all know how we started off. We gotta start off the show with the theme song. So let's hit it. While the theme song is playing, like, share, and let others know that We'll Talk Monday is on. Let's go. What is up? What is up? What is up? You all, you all, you all. It is another day, another time, and another week for We'll Talk Monday.
What is up? 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 What's up with you? What is up? What is up? What is up? It's only up from here. What is up? What is up? What is up? Let's go. What is up? What is up? What is up? Real talk. Real talk. What is up? What is up? What is up? Real talk. Real Talk Monday. Tune in to Real Talk Monday with Reverend James H. Glover III, a godly show that keeps it real.
You all, we are back and we are ready to go. We are ready to kill it. So before we get too far started on the night, sis, ma'am, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really good today. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm great. So, to my followers or my viewers that may have been living under a rock and may have missed you the last show, tell them a little bit about you so that they can know a little bit about you.
Um, as before, I had stated that I'm Shakira Tunstall. I go to WKU. I'm currently on break, and when I return, I will be a second semester junior. And my major is broadcasting, communication, and journalism. My minor is law and African American studies. I just wrote a book that covers my life and my life experiences that really falls under mental health. I've done a little acting for Western, and I'm just your all around girl, I guess. But that's pretty much that what I got going.
So, y'all, she is very modest. Like, y'all, if you knew what I know about this woman right here, she is the bomb.com. Y'all better ask somebody. Like I told y'all last time, the way I even found out about her was through a follower that watches the show, and they told me that I needed to connect with her to get her on the show. And immediately I was down for it. I looked at her page. I was totally in. After looking at what she posts, I'm like, oh, she's a perfect fit for Real Talk Monday because she's gonna keep it raw. She's gonna keep it real. And she's gonna keep if you know say so with it. Like it's not gonna be wrapped up in your pretty little bow. Like she's gonna keep it real with you. So you all, we about to hit this and hit it hard. First topic that we hitting on is mental health in the black family. Oof. Y'all, let's be real. I'll let my guest start off and let her kick it off, and then I'll follow on from there. So, what comes to your mind when I immediately say mental health in the black family? What is the first thing that comes to your mind?
There's actually three things that I jotted down for everybody that I want to discuss. And the first one that, because I'm going to break them down to everybody briefly, but the first one is called trauma bonding. And there's plenty of different ways of trauma bonding, but three main ones that people wanted me to discuss. And I'm going to let you actually choose the one you want me to kind of summarize on. And one of them is grooming. The second one is emotions. And the third one is setting up for failure. Which one you want me to touch on?
Do the setting up for failure, ma'ams. Do
Okay,
have
setting up for failure. So a lot of parents and guardians in the black homes um, rather they want to admit it or not, set the kids up for failure. And you have a lot of Black kids in the community that is lacking learning financial stability, the options of what they want to do with their career or even want to go to college, financial aid, all these discussions as far as credit and just real life situations with saving. And not only that, we have a struggle with the Black, especially with Black parents or a Black parent that tend to not leave nothing behind for most Black children. And that's really, something that a lot of us struggle in the Black community, far as being set up for failure and set behind. Because if you just want to really be realistic about it, most Black parents, it's like, I call it the pick one and roll with it. And I say that because whoever your guardian was, or a parent or parents, tend to pick one thing, and that's from all different emotions. And it could be, for an example, you might have a mother that has a son, and she might pick the well, let's do this one, a dad and a son, or a dad and a daughter, because this is usually the common one. And they might pick the financial part. So the dad might financially be available for the child, but when it comes to mentally, emotionally, physically, or any other, things, spiritually or whatever, they're unavailable. So you see that a lot in the Black community, as far as a parent or parents, they pretty much select what they feel they need or how they feel parenting should go, and then they lack all the other things. And that's just really a big struggle. It's like the saying, like it falls back in the saying of, I gave you a roof, I gave you food, I gave you water. The typical saying that most of us as Black children have heard growing up. And I always felt like that was actually toxic and wrong to tell your child, like, I fed you, I gave you water, because it's the basic things that a parent's supposed to naturally do, or parents are supposed to do anyways. But what Black parents or parent fail to realize after you said that, I mean, that may be true. You did feed me, you did, give me a place to stay and all this, the basic stuff that you're naturally supposed to do. What you fail to realize is that you still pretty much set me up for failure, because, for an example, you didn't teach me, like I said, about financial literacy, credit, and just life choices and important decisions that could change the child's life as they get older, and just, major decisions with banking and having sex and stuff like that. Like all that stuff is naturally just absent, because most of us struggle with getting those tools and getting fed that as a young child.
I totally agree 1000% with you on that. It's one of those things where they, like you said, they pick what they want to discuss about. They pick what they want to tell you about, and then you're supposed to know it. A lot of the times, it's like, then when you get out here in the real world, they look at you crazy because you don't know how to do this or you don't know how to do that. Well, to be honest, we wasn't taught that.
Mm-hmm.
We was never taught that. Like our white counterparts, a lot of the times, they are left when their parents leave them. They leave them with land. They leave them with money. They leave them with something to be left behind for them, to help them succeed onto the next level. Blacks, man, they don't leave them with nothing half the time, a lot of the time. And then we wonder why we deal with the same constant cycle of being literate financially, or being illiterate emotionally. Sometimes it's hard to show love because you wasn't shown that in some Black households. You wasn't shown that. So it's like when you get in relationships, it's hard to show that person that love because, let's be real, you wasn't shown that growing up.
Mm-hmm. And to cover up something that also falls under another one that I named really quick was grooming, because you have a lot of parent that will groom the kid or the children to pretty much be dependent on them. It could fall for any type of reason that the parent might have had any type of traumatic experience growing up to where they feel like they don't want to be alone. It could be for any personal reasons that they have, that they groom the kids or the child into being very dependent on them to the point where the child gets to a certain age where they should be independent and they can't be because of the way that they were groomed. And another thing that should be spoken upon real quick that I know is a problem, is that I see a lot is single mothers grooming their sons. And I know a lot of people don't want to talk about this, but grooming their sons into basically treating them and prepping them as if they are the man that they've always desired. We see it all the time. A lot of people don't say anything or probably don't even realize it because it has become so normal of seeing a single mother, majority of them basically treating the son a certain type of way as if they're in a relationship. So I mean, that's in the Black families a lot, where you have that parent, that especially the single parent, basically having those desires of what they've always wanted out of a spouse and taking that on to the child. And this can also be for the same sex, as far as the mother and the daughter, having the daughter pay bills at an early age, basically playing a man role in the household, but basically it's her daughter. It's sickening, but it does happen in the household a lot.
Or even putting bills in your children's name,
That too.
messing up their
That's too.
credit at an early age, and then when they get older, they can't get anything in their name because that credit already jacked. And then they wondering what happened. And then a lot of the times that cycle continues. They'll do the same thing to their kids because they're used to that cycle.
Hmm. And you'll have a lot of
And I
Black
like
kids.
something that you said where,
Mhm.
yeah, go on ahead.
Go ahead. What would you like that I said
Go on
again?
ahead.
You want
When
me to
you
go?
said that a lot of the times they groom their kids to be the
Right.
people that they want them to be, like in that relationship, it's crazy. Like how many times you see that where like they'll groom them to be what they wanted, but
Right.
then when that child gets older, that child's trying to figure out their own identity because they're like, who am I really? Like,
Hmm.
I don't know what I like because I've always liked whatever I was told to like. So it's like, and a lot of the times, in a lot of Black families, they were sheltered as well. So it's like when you're sheltered and like caved in and kept in a bubble, when you get out of that bubble, you about to explode. You about to do whatever you want to do, and then
Hmm.
if you ain't been trained or taught these things, guess what? You're probably gonna mess up.
That's very true. And being able to just be able to find yourself and be able to express yourself is always watered down in most of the Black homes too, as well, because you have a lot of families that will have religion and beliefs and etc., and they will ponder that on to the kid without having the kid or allowing the kid to be able to just find himself as a kid or just be a kid, and that's really a big struggle.
I would agree. I would agree with that. I would agree with that 1000%. Kids growing up too quick because of the simple fact of them having to. Or the one that used to kill me was you're the man at the house now. 6 years old, you're the man of the house. You ain't even a man yet, but you the man of the. Don't make
That's
sense. It doesn't make sense to me. So y'all, we gonna continue this discussion. Trust me, we got more. Trust me, we ain't done yet. And then now let's talk about how to deal with toxic actions in Black family.
You want me to start that off?
Toxicity in the Black family. Yeah, I can. Now, a lot of times when you hear toxicity, you think of relationships, you think of dating, But this can happen within the family as well. And a lot of times it isn't talked about, swept under the rug, but we're told whatever happens in this house stays in this house. If what's happening in this house is affecting me, we need to get some help.
Mhm.
We need to figure this out. Because if we don't figure this out, then I'm gonna find myself repeating the same cycle with my kids. So what do you feel on that?
Dealing with that, far as whatever stays in the house ordeal, that's basically draining a lot of the Black kids' mental health, especially when they get older and they get into the dating stages of their lives, of carrying those toxic behaviors into their love life. And for example, you have a lot of sons and men in general who already feel suppressed, that they cannot express their emotions and express their feelings, because it's typically either the dad or the mom is making them feel like they have to keep their emotions. Like, for an example, a lot of Black children are afraid to speak to, or to open up or vent to their parents or parent, because of the fact of the parent basically neglecting their emotions. And most Black parents or parent feel obligated to feel, entitled, that I'm always right. Your opinion or your voice really doesn't matter. I pay the bills. I'm the parent. The typical sayings that most Black parents do to their child, to the point where the child don't express their self. And when they get to a certain age, that's where you see all the, where they express themselves or they act out, and some may just carry it over into their love life. And they might date somebody. For an example, a female might date a man that is abusive, or date a man that is a narc, or date a man that's manipulative. Vice versa for a man dating a woman that way. That's abusive. That's a narc. That's manipulative. That's a liar. Or someone that's making them feel like they're in control and they don't have a voice, because it's a familiar behavior. So we tend to, get raised by certain individuals that trained us and to make us believe that this is the right way to be raised. And then we grow up in our dating world and we tend to date the person that acts exactly like the parent. And we don't even realize it, because it's a familiar behavior. And if we do realize it, we're somewhat accepting it and we're settling for that behavior, because of the fact that we was raised around that. It's familiar to us.
We date from our toxicity. We date from our toxicity. We
Mhm.
date stuff that we're used to. Okay, this must be normal because I remember mama and them dealing with this, and then my grandmama and them dealt with it too. Daddy and them dealt with it. Granddaddy and them dealt with it. So this must be normal because this is all I'm used to seeing. So then we start dating from that, but sooner or later that cycle has to be broken. Like somebody has to be the one to be like, you know what, I'm tired of this. This cycle has to be broken. I'm gonna be the one to stop its toxicity. Like sooner or later this gotta stop.
In a way, things can get better
So
in the
my
Black.
next, yeah. What was you saying? I'm sorry.
I was just adding, like,
No, go
a
on
way,
ahead because you hitting on what I was about to say. Go on ahead.
like I was gonna say, a way that to answer that really is how to deal with it. To make it better in the Black homes and the Black communities is pretty much, being able to allow your children to express themselves. And for adults, especially Black parents, to be able to take a self accountability, because self accountability in a household, it should be a major thing. Because as a parent, always believing that you're right, or not being able to let your child have a voice. Let your child express themselves. If you have a 4-year-old that's throwing a temper tantrum for whatever reason, let them throw their temper tantrum, but sit them down and, let them voice why they're having a temper tantrum. Or if you have a 14-year-old who's in their room, you notice that they're never in their room all day, don't go in there and whoop them and spank them or put them on punishment because they didn't come out their room or didn't take out the trash like they're supposed to. It might be a reason why the child was in their room all day. It could be because the child got raped. It could be because the child got their heart broken. It could be because the child don't understand their sexuality. It could be in so many ways of a child in general, but just in the Black community, of why, you know, certain behaviors ponder onto a child to shift, that, you know, parents or parent, I feel, needs to look more and pay more attention to, with the child, to see what's the problem, instead of creating more of a problem to their behavior as of neglecting their emotions.
I agree with that 1000%. I agree with that. Y'all, we are not done. I know normally we would only have 10 more minutes on our show, but tonight, y'all getting a first time special of an hour long show of Real Talk Monday, y'all. Y'all getting an hour long because this girl and I, we vibe so well off of each other that we feel like, you know what, we could do an hour long show on these topics that we hitting on tonight because there's so much that can be brought out of it. So y'all bear with us. We're gonna take a quick, very quick commercial break, and then we will be right back. Hold on. What is up, you all? Thank y'all for tuning in to the Spin Award nominated Real Talk Monday. We pray that you have been enjoying the show thus far. We'd ask that you please go listen to the podcast, which will drop on Tuesday at midnight. And also tune in next week as we have another great interview with another powerful guest. Also, make sure you're following us on all of our social media. And if you have anything that you would like us to talk about on our show, or you want to be a guest on our show, you can also email us at realtalkmonday1@gmail.com. Be blessed. All right, y'all. We are back. We're gonna take one more commercial break. Throughout the show. We'll take another one, but you all definitely, we appreciate y'all rocking with us tonight. Also, we do ask that you go support this website right here. A good friend of mine, actually a family member of mine, she teaches. She's an assistant teacher at preschool, and they are actually doing a drive where they are giving away. They are fundraising to get money for different supplies that they need in their classroom. So please, ma'am, please, sir, go to that website right there. Any donation that you give will be appreciated. I will share the link on my page. On the link has already been shared on the James H. Glover III page, but I will share it on the We'll Talk Monday page as well on later on tonight, so y'all can have that. Let's go out here and let's support our kids. We say that we love them, but let's show them that we really love them by putting our money where our mouth is. So my next question to you is, why do you feel like therapy? We're talking about mental health. We talked about toxicity. We talked about all of that. But why do you feel like therapy is such a bad word in the black community? Why do you feel like it's like a stigma of I don't need no therapy because I don't need no therapist telling me what I need to do in my life? Like I'm good. As long as I got the King Jesus, I'm good. Which don't get me wrong, the Lord is fine. But sometimes you need to sit down and talk to somebody. Why do you feel like as blacks we kind of have a stigma of not wanting to do that?
Because I mean, who really wants to face their demons? Who really wants to talk about them being the problem? And the problem is the family, or the, you know, the few family members in the family. So, you know, of course, the thing with people, especially in the black homes, is that we tend to want to talk about every other culture, want to talk about everybody else, but what's going on in the culture, and the problem that we are dealing with ourselves, with the same culture, like the black on black crimes or the rapist that's in the family, and we're covering it up. I can go on and on and on, but why would we want to talk about it, especially if you play a part of the problem? Who wants to talk about it? Who wants to talk about it to someone who's professionally trained to basically, you know, tell you about yourself and to give you the tools to heal? So a lot of, you know, people in the black families, they really don't want to heal. They say they want to heal, but really it's change is scarce to them, because they know that just the drama and everything else that comes with basically just the comfortability of staying the same and being messy. I mean, why not just be in your comfort zone instead of being able to change and to heal? I mean, everybody's scared to, most people are scared to change. So why would you want to go to someone that you know is going to take you to a place of change? And not only that, but take you to a place of to face yourself.
I would agree. I would agree. I think a lot of times too, it's a thing of, like you said, you don't want to face your demons. you,
Mhm.
I think we have a lot of times we don't want to admit it, but we become comfortable in toxicity. We become comfortable in it because it's like we've dealt with it for so long that we feel like it's normal. We have normalized it. We
Mhm.
have normalized the toxic behaviors that we deal with. And going to a therapist, we got to face the fact that, you know what, man, what I'm dealing with ain't normal. What I do ain't normal. What happens in this household ain't normal. So we gotta like check ourselves. It makes us take a look at the man in the mirror or the woman in the mirror.
Mhm.
So
That's right.
I would agree 1000% with what you're saying on that. So now, y'all, I don't know if y'all ready for this next topic, but we about to hit it. New abortion law, women's right. Sis, ma'am, I'm gonna let you hit it off first. I'm gonna let you hit this first because I want the women's perspective on this. And as I told you in the pre-interview, this is Real Talk Monday. So keep it real, keep it raw, and do you.
Well, I'm a woman and I'm just gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it real. As much as I want to really just fully defend and lie, I'm gonna just keep it very honest. A lot of women feel entitled of stuff that they're not entitled to. And me personally, I am with the law, because, and I say this because I feel like if the victim got raped, then they should have the option rather they want to have an abortion or not. But I also feel if the person is claiming rape, that they should get tested if they have got raped. And a topic I'm going to say real quick is very sensitive, but men get raped too, and men get lied on too. So I say that because you will have women out here that will lie and say that they got raped and they have not got raped. So if they have got raped, they do get that option. I feel they should get that option, but they should get tested too. I don't think the system should just take the woman's word, because I feel like the system and society has pampered women in so many things systematically to the point that women just automatically feel that they're entitled to everything, and that's the behavior that we're seeing now. But this also, I also feel like with the abortion law as well is that like I said, I'm with it because at a certain age, I also feel like past 18 or maybe 21, if you're under that and you make a mistake, we all make mistakes as kids. Some of us have, some of us, started having sex, jumping off the porch at 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, let's just be honest about it. So I feel like if you're at that age and a mistake comes to play, you should have an option to as well, because that also falls under the parents or the guardians. It falls back into what's going on in the home. But as an adult, you having sex, I feel like you should take responsibility. I feel like this was God's calling, because, people are running from their consequences. And this also runs back to me for religion, because you have a lot of Christians in other religions that feel, to live by scripture. We're going to throw scripture. They are mad at this law. Why would you be mad at this law? Especially if you're Christian, because aren't you supposed to be having sex with your spouse? They should be the last people to be mad about this law. That's just honestly how I feel. So if living your truth and you're living your religion the way that you're supposed to be living it, you shouldn't be upset about not being able to have the option to kill a child, because I do feel it is murder.
Whew. Y'all, you you hit on a lot of points right there, ma'am. I For me, I would agree with what you said as far as if you got raped. Definitely. You ought to have that option. You ought to have that option. But I agree with what you said too, where a lot of times people are claiming it, but they haven't been. So it's like, and then it makes it harder on the victims of the people that actually get raped, because then people don't sometimes want to believe them because of the simple fact of they've heard this story before from somebody else and that person was lying. So it makes it harder on the victims sometimes, like the ones that actually got that this actually happened to. It makes it harder on them to come out because sometimes they feel like, well, nobody's going to believe me anyway. But I agree with what you said as far as on that statement of, if this happened to you, then you ought to have that option. But if not, if you're grown enough to lay down, now don't get me wrong. If there's a health condition that is going on where it could take these cells life anyways, I believe we ought to have that option too. If it's one of those situations where it's like, if a child is born, then it's going to have all of these different diseases, all of these different ailments that's going on with them, and its quality of life isn't going to be the quality of life as you and I know it, then you ought to have that option too. Because one thing I've learned in my 32 years, almost 33, there's a difference between living and existing.
Mhm.
And a lot of people are existing, but they're not really living. And you holding on to them just for the simple fact of saying that, oh yeah, they still here, they're still hanging on with us. But what is their quality of life that they're living?
That's- yeah.
Like, let's just be real. What quality of life are you living? So, I got another question for you. You hit on this, and I want to ask you this. So, with as far as the ones that come out saying that they have been raped and then comes out not true, what do you feel ought to be the consequences of that? Because we already know sometimes nowadays it's like as soon as you say the word, then boom, you're immediately locked up. The one that you're accusing is immediately locked up. What do you believe ought to happen to the ones that are accusing, but it never really happened to them?
They need to serve consequences as well. They need to serve consequences and they need to be stuck with the baby. Because that's where I went back and said, that women feel entitled to things they don't need to really be entitled about. There goes one right there. Because when the law has passed, you've seen a lot of people flooding. I mean, I understand this is a pass for the rape victims, so they get a pass. But for women who has never been raped and women who are just loosely out here having sex with just different men, you had them out here, and you had people, like I said, that's in the church. You had them out here, women's right, it's our bodies, marching and protesting about the situation. But let's just be realistic here. I mean, just quit laying down with people and you wouldn't have this issue, especially if you are Christian. You claiming that you're Christian. You shouldn't definitely even have this problem, especially if you're married. You shouldn't have this problem at all. But women feel so entitled. Most women feel so entitled naturally just because they are women. And like I said, systematically in society has pampered women to the point that they really don't give men a voice in a lot of situations. I mean, it takes two to tango. So why isn't it that even if the woman don't want to have the child, if she's not raped, why the man don't have a play in the say so of making the decision for that too as well? Because you do have a lot of situations like that where the men do want the child, but the women can just get up and go to the office tomorrow and get an abortion and not even tell them. So where in the world do you see that that's right at all? And then you have women out here who will yell rape because they are in denial of them basically just whoring around, and they want to throw it on just a random guy or someone they mess with. And you automatically, the system just sides with the woman. And now you have the man having a label on him that's innocent and he is doing time. So I do feel like it should be reversed, that the woman should do time and she should be stuck with the child, because you have to face your consequences. And that's why I said I feel like it is a God's calling, because, you know, God is basically revealing the people who are out here doing just anything and living life the way they feel that they want to live it, and they running from their consequences.
You can't run from it. Like eventually it's gonna catch up to you, right? You can do dirt for so long, but eventually it's going to catch up. Like sooner or later, like God is going to allow something that my mom said that I didn't understand it when she used to say it all the time. But now that I'm older, I understand it. Where she said that God doesn't bless a mess, He will allow it to go on for a certain amount of time, but He ain't going to bless it. And then when He gets tired of it, He's going to clean it up in His own way. Look at the story of Noah. God allowed that situation to go on for a certain amount of time. He allowed the world to live the way they wanted to live for a certain amount of time. And then eventually he wiped everybody out except Noah and his family.
That's true.
So that's something that we got to remember. Like we can't keep living our life any type of way and think that there's no consequences for it. Eventually the consequences are going to catch up to you. It's like sooner or later you're gonna have to pay the piper for what you did. So my next question to you would be, when did you know for yourself, when did you know that it was time to start breaking the cycle of all the things that we have been taught in the Black community and all of that? When did it come to you that, like, you know what, it's time to break the cycle? I got to be the one to break this generational curse.
Well, I was raised by my mother, and this is no shade towards my father or my mom, but I was raised by my mom, and I'm just like her as far as personality wise. We have a lot in common, and I truly believe I have a lot in common with my father, even though I was raised by my mom. And it's a lot of stuff and mistakes that I've seen, especially being the oldest in the household, that the mistakes that my mother had made in her life. And I also seen how it reflected of the results of some of the things in her late 50s or her 50s. I seen the consequences of just holding in her emotions and just all types of other trauma stuff that she's held in from her childhood. I've seen the result in some of the things that she's experienced just being in her 40s through her 50s. Even when I was in middle school, high school, I seen some of the behaviors and some of the things that she was teaching me. And sometimes she would say, even to this day, she would say, and I had to recently tell her, you know, like with the, well, my granny taught me this. My granny did this and we did this. And it's like, you know, that might be true. But those times and this time, it's two different times, you know, and
we don't make it right.
You know, it's kind of like just, you know, being the youngest out of siblings. The youngest is always the special one. I always said that because the youngest always has that opportunity to either have the greatest decision, because they see all the other kids, especially the oldest, go through all the mistakes of life, and they have that option. Now, I know not to do that. I know not to do that. So that's how it was for me, being raised by a single mother and just seeing just some of the results of just her holding in a lot of stuff from her childhood, the trauma and the breakups and the marriages and just her life decisions. So I got to a point in my life at an age, do I want to be like that? You know, not saying nothing bad about my mother, but do I want to have these type of, you know, breakdowns? You know, do I want to, you know, make those same type of mistakes and feel, you know? So that's what really got me to a place to really just be like, okay, I want to do better, and I'm going to be better.
So you just basically got to that point to where you was like, the cycle has to break, and I'm gonna be the one to break that cycle.
Correct. You know, you have to look at the reflection of your parents' decisions or whoever raised you, and you know, rather it was good, but if it was bad, you know, just to be able to reflect off of that, and you have to make that decision as an adult, like, do I want that, and what can I do to basically, you know, be better and do better, and make a difference. So therefore, I wouldn't pass that down over to my kids.
I feel that. Y'all, we're going to take one more commercial break and we will be right back and finish up this interview. We are having a great time tonight on this interview, which I knew I would. So we're going to take one more commercial break and we will be right back. What is up, y'all? The Spin Award nominated Real Talk Monday officially has merch for sale. These t shirts right here, you can get them in any color that you want. Plus, they are only $20 for a small to a large. Extra large is $30, and then shipment is only $5 extra. Message me in my inbox to find out more information on how you can order your t shirt, and we will definitely get with you all. All right? Love y'all. Be blessed and be blessing to someone else. God bless. Yep. So y'all heard it here first. Tonight we officially announced that the Spin Award nominated Real Talk Monday officially has merch for sale. Like, we've been talking about it for a while. We've been in the room working on it, trying to figure out how we wanted to design it, what we wanted it to look like, and finally we came up with the designs of what we wanted. So y'all definitely hit me up and I will definitely get you the information that you need for that. You can I will put this link in the comments below, and we will be making those as it is requested, because we do not want to make a million of them and then be stuck with them. So as you request them, we will be making them, y'all. So let me know whenever you want it, what you want, how many you want, and we'll be getting with you. I promise y'all that. So back to these questions. You all, let me just tell y'all now, before I get too far into these questions again, this one right here, like, words can't describe how real and how genuine she is. Like, I haven't even known her that long, but just from our conversations, it was like when we first met, like, we built that bond that was like, I knew this was gonna be somebody I was gonna be tight with for a minute. And like I said, there's only a few people that first pre-interview that I have with them, we automatically connect, and is one of them. Pre-interviews normally last 10 minutes. Mine and hers lasted about an hour. Us being on the phone, laughing, talking, catching up. We had a lot of similarities, and if talking to her on the phone was like talking to somebody that I've known my whole life. So, and you don't find that every day. So I appreciate her for being so real, for being so raw, and just being upfront and letting us know what's really going on in our community and taking a stand for stuff that is right. So I appreciate her for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem. No
Please.
problem. So another question that I have for you would be, why do you feel, as in the African American community, why do you feel that it is looked down upon for us to show emotions? Like, sometimes we try to play like we got it all together. We try to play like we're good in every situation, but in all honesty, we breaking down.
Because
Why do
most
you feel
of
like
it, you
that
know,
happens?
most of it stems from, as I spoke before, in our childhood, to where we were trained to not really be able to show emotion, especially boys. And, you know, rather it's boy or female or male, you know, most black parents, as I stated, you know, tend to just basically make you feel, or they neglect your feelings or your emotions. to where you naturally just shut down. And this stems back from when you was a child. So as you get older, expressing your emotions tend to be like, what do I need to express my emotions to the world for when I couldn't even do it at home? And so for an example, like you can have a birthday party. You might be 14 years old. You have your family or your parents threw your birthday party. And basically you're the type that you don't like the attention of the waitresses and waiters coming to the table and yelling happy birthday, bringing you a birthday cake. Your parents know this. They know that you don't like the attention, but yet they do it anyways. They disregard your feelings. And so when the waiters and the waitress come, you're like looking like I don't like this.
This ain't what I want. This is for y'all, not for me.
Exactly. And pretty much it's like, they're just basically saying, get over it. You're okay. It's over with. You got your cake. And that right there alone goes a million miles with a child, because you just basically neglected the child's emotions and feelings, neglected their wishes when you knew that your child was shy. But yet it's get over it. He'll be okay. It's all right. You're a party pooper. I mean, if that's something that they don't like, I mean, that stuff, little stuff like that will cause a child to shut down. And then they'll literally take that to their adult life. But what makes someone feel comfortable to even express themselves or feel comfortable to express themselves to society when they couldn't feel comfortable to do so or felt respected about their emotions and feelings at home?
You got a point, because a lot of times I've seen it happen where like they didn't get it from home. They feel like I can't show love, I can't show emotions. Like I was built to be strong. So then it's like when something happens when they should be showing emotions, like let's say a death happens, they don't know how to act because it's like I want to cry because I'm sad, but I don't know how because I was always taught to be strong, not to let it out. And we gotta check ourselves on that. Like we gotta make sure that we are creating a safe space in our community to where like we can be vulnerable and be like, yo, look, I'm dealing with this, I'm dealing with that, I'm dealing with these issues, and I don't know how to deal with it. That's why a lot of times we don't want to talk about it, but suicide is a lot higher in the black community a lot of the times because they don't know how to deal. We don't know how to deal with our issues. We don't want to go to our friends and family because we know 9 times out of 10 they're gonna talk. And yes, everybody says go to God, which is good. Definitely do that. But you gotta have that safe space as well.
And that's why it's so important to basically, especially as when the kids are kids, to let them be able to show their vulnerability the way that they feel that they're comfortable to show it. Some people like to sleep a couple of days. Some people don't cry at all when it's a death. Some people cry for weeks. Some people, have mood swings. Whatever it is that comforts them to get through, we have to normalize that that's okay. And especially as boys, in the household, being taught that they cannot cry or they can't express themselves or they can't have that feminine side of basically being able to just let out their true emotions, being able to really just touch in on things that's not always masculine. That's okay. And we have to normalize that so they could be able to, take that into their adult life and be able to have a healthy love life and have healthy relationships with coworkers and have healthy relationship with friendships, just off of being able to teach them that a man can cry. And it doesn't make you less of a man. And it definitely doesn't mean that you're not strong just because you're human. So I feel like we could definitely do better on that.
Oh yeah. We gotta do better on that because if we don't, we're gonna have so many toxic traits where this somebody just said that's true. And it is because if we're not careful, we're gonna keep repeating the same cycle and wondering why we're not getting the help that we need, wondering why we're not getting better, wondering why we're seeing our other counterparts getting better and dealing with their emotions and we're not. And the reason why we're not sometimes is number one, we don't want to go to therapy. Number two, we're scared to talk about our feelings. And number three, we don't feel safe.
And in the
So
community, I definitely agree. And I have to add to that is that in the community as well, I see this all the time. Is that they, like we talked about in the first video, of Black people rejecting therapy. And I know everybody has their own personal feelings and, about therapy, but I would rather see somebody go to therapy. I would rather you, even if you don't go to therapy, just being able to teach the kids and to teach just Black people to express themselves. I would rather you talk to somebody, rather it's a stranger, rather it's a coworker, rather it's a family that you do trust, or it's therapy. I would rather you get it off your chest than to go home and to have multiple demonic thoughts and then to just end yourself. Because a lot of people in the Black community will prefer the route of ending their beautiful life than to just actually talk to somebody and don't realize just venting goes a long way. Venting definitely goes a long way. Sometimes just talking to yourself out loud goes a long way. So just getting it off your chest, and that's definitely the beauty of therapy. When you find the right therapist, I cannot stress that enough. Find the right therapist or someone talk to somebody and get it off your chest, because you just never know. Like I said, it don't even necessarily have to be therapy, but sometimes strangers is the best thing that could ever happen to you, because you could talk to, God could lead you to somebody you don't even know. God could lead you to somebody from your past, regardless, and you can talk to somebody and they might just have the right thing to say to you that'll change your whole train of thought. And I would rather that be the case than for someone to just go somewhere and to end their life.
see, it's good. Man, see the truth. I promise you, this is why this is an hour-long episode tonight, because I knew she was gonna bring that fire. She gonna bring that fire. Look, and the comment section is a little quiet tonight, but I knew it was gonna be quiet tonight because we ain't talking about that stuff that a lot of people want to talk about. We hitting them with that hard stuff. We hitting them with that raw stuff, that stuff that they not used to.
Okay.
But sometimes you need it. You need it. Trust me, they ain't commenting, but they watching. They definitely watching because the numbers keep rising and everything. So trust me, they watching, but I think they taking it all in.
Comments
Mhm.
don't mean anything. When you're
No, it
getting a
don't.
message out, comments could be meaningless.
Oh,
Because the numbers is always important, because people will be afraid to speak us on something out loud because, I
definitely.
mean, they're ashamed, or why would they want somebody in their business? But just to have, somebody hear a word or to watch a word can go definitely a long way. So it's really, that all that matters.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you all look, I'm sure I speak for her as well. If you are watching this show tonight and you need somebody to talk to, both of our inboxes are open. We're here to talk to you. We're here to help you. Look, do not be afraid to ask for help. The scripture says you have not because you ask not. If you need a listening ear, I'd rather you message me and let me listen to you talk out your troubles than to pick up the paper or to get online or get on Facebook and see RIP. I didn't even know they was going through this. Because once again, we're good at masking our pain. We are good at smiling on the outside, but inside we dealing with so much stuff that it ain't even funny. So look, if y'all need us, please message us. And yeah, she talking raw. She giving y'all that raw, tough love. And trust and believe me, she's coming back. Trust and believe me on that. She will be back. Trust me, this will not be the last time y'all see her. Trust me, she will be back. Like there will be a part three. Trust me, there will be a part three. So if if you had any closing words or anything to leave with them, what would it be? And also leave them your cash app. That way, if they want to be a blessing to you, they can do that.
Okay. My cash app is Shakira T. It's my first name and my last initial, which is T. It's all together. So capital S, lowercase HIKIRA, capital T, and it's all together. And then something I would like to just basically leave off with everybody on this video is pretty much, if you are in a household that you're not getting the proper, if you're watching this and you're not getting the proper treatment verbally, far as your parents are guardian pouring into you verbally every single day about how you feel about yourself. Rather, I would like to tell you, especially to my Black people, because I love my melanated people, and that would be, that you are very beautiful. And I just specifically want to speak to my dark skinned women and men, but especially to my dark skinned women, is that you are beautiful. Love your skin. Your skin is gold. Your skin is everything. And everybody in this world, especially everybody that's outside of the culture that looks different than you, knows the value of who you are. They know the value of who you are. That's why we get treated the way that we get treated. If the people that aren't you or is the opposite of you know the value of who you are, why you don't know the value of who you are. So to all my dark skinned melanated women, you are very beautiful and you worth so much than the world ever teach you that you are. And I really want that to be out there because colorism is real. It's really real. And it's a big struggle for dark skinned people to be accepted in this world for many different things. But always keep this in mind that we get treated less than and put last for a particular reason because they know that we are the most valuablest one. So if when people start to realize their worth, then we could change the world. And you're beautiful. I'll leave it at that.
Now I know I said that's the last thing, but I got a question for you.
Uh-huh.
So you just hit on colorism. Can you sum that up? And we will definitely be back for a part three on this, but let's talk a little bit on that. Like, why do you feel like we deal with that sometimes?
Society plays a big part in colorism and self-hate in the culture. You have a lot of people who extremely knows who they are as people, but they neglect the knowledge of knowing who they are just to fit in society. And you have a lot of people who will purposely go out their dating zone and date outside of the culture just because they feel that's a pass to be able to make it in this world and to make it in society, to feel somewhat invisible of the fact that they're in denial that they are Black. Colorism is very real because it has been steamed into us since slavery and before then. But just the fact of people's desperation of wanting to be accepted or to be looked as equally, they are willing to basically neglect the color that they are born with and blessed with to be able to be in denial and, like I said, make mixed babies, date someone outside of the culture, anything to pretty much neglect who they are as Black people of the culture. And it is very real. Self-hate is very real. And self-hate is very real with people outside of the culture too as well. Our culture is the main culture that everybody picks something off of. We're pretty much the root of the tree. So when our culture can, realize how strong and valuable we are, then we would be undefeatable, pretty much. But we have to choose to wake up to realize, for one, to learn the history, the real history, and to accept who we are.
Whew. Y'all, so in closing, stay tuned. We will be back next week. We will have another powerful guest on next week. I absolutely love her. Miss L will be on with me next week. I can't wait to have a conversation with my sis L again. So, y'all, as I always say, sometimes our disappointments are nothing more than God's appointments, meaning some things that we look at as bad, God is only turning it around for our good. Stay blessed, be blessed, and be a blessing to someone else. And we're out. But before we leave, check this out, y'all.
Thank you for watching Real Talk Monday. We pray that you enjoyed today's episode. Please make sure to like and follow our Facebook page for further updates. Also, make sure that you listen to the podcast that drops tomorrow at midnight on all major podcast stations. You can follow us at any of our social media accounts. For Instagram, it's at Real Talk Monday. For TikTok, Real Talk Monday. For Clubhouse, you can find us at Real Talk Monday. For YouTube, it's Reverend JHG3 Ministry. And if you have any topic that you would like us to discuss, or you would like to sit down with us for an interview, email us today at realtalkmonday1@gmail.com.
Love y'all. God bless y'all. See y'all next week. Peace.